Okay, so what we're gonna make is called a carved box. And let me go ahead and take the lid off this one so you can see it. So this is one of them. You can see that they have the exact same design all the way around, and it wraps around the project. Okay, it's even on the top of the project. Okay, it's not on the bottom, but you could have created this project where it sat this direction too. And you could cut the lid off this direction, okay, if you wanted to have something that was more long, okay, than tall, okay, because this one is cut off this way. You can see that the lid follows the design on how that's cut out, okay, and so what we're trying to do right now is come up with what design do we want to carve into our pot. Okay, so let's look at this other one. Same thing with this one. And it's pretty crazy how it changes when the design is combined. Okay, do you see that? And you've got like these X's that wrap around this way that you see here. And so this is something that can be very neat, very interesting if you really put your full effort into it. Okay, so if you look, the box looks like, let's see, like this. So what you're doing is you are carving the exact same thing in each box, okay? And there are 6 boxes on the sides. This one's maybe a little easier to see. Okay, so this is a box right there, okay? And then you can see like the next one down here, this is a box. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through this and show you how to do this, but first, we're just trying to come up with designs that are interesting, okay? And so I have these here. These are 2 by 2, and so the project that we're making is going to be 4 by 4 by 6. And so the top would have 4 boxes like this, okay? The sides would have 6 boxes like this, okay? And if it doesn't make sense, we'll work step by step on it, okay? So if you look, I'm going to just draw some of them on here and then show you here so I can go a little faster. What you're trying to do is just connect points. And so you could connect from this point over to this point. Okay, let me zoom in a little. And we're just going to do this and just draw those in. Okay, so that could be something. Maybe you want to make that diamond like we had talked about. Maybe you want to have, you do a square here and do a diamond this way so it kind of goes back and forth. Okay, but this is just rough drawing. We're not trying to be absolutely precise on these because this is a rough draft. Okay, same thing here. Maybe I would connect them like this, okay, so I could create a design. The grid is something that helps you. Okay, and that's why we have to have it. We won't have the grid in the end. Okay, so maybe you have a design, something that looks like that. Okay, what about you could do something where it's a little more like asymmetrical. Maybe I would go that way, and then I'm going to draw and make my design there, and then connect these. And then I think I want to connect this somewhere else. I'm going to connect this to this one. Ooh. I'm crooked. And then I think I'll connect these and go straight with those. And so we're just trying to experiment and see, okay, what do we like? What do we not like? Sometimes you're going to have some designs that you think, oh, that's really cool. And some of them you're going to have like, oh, I think that one kind of flopped. But there we go. That's another design. It's hard to say what it's going to look like once you multiply it. Okay. You can also use other things to help you draw these. And so there are some compasses. You could use a lid. Some protractors. So instead of just connecting like with a straight line, you could connect with a curved line. Okay, you would have to use this when you carve, but you could use something like this and connect this point to this point with a curve. Do you see that? Okay, so if you have something consistent, then it's gonna make the same thing over and over. Okay, so I'm connecting one point to another, and you can see what that would look like. And then once you multiply it, then that's going to really change things too. Okay, so maybe you have something like that. You could use even like just a cup. Okay, this has a little bit smaller of one, so you could, maybe I connect these and kind of work my way around. And I think I'll do another one. But whatever you are using to draw with, okay, whether you're making straight lines or you're using something that has a curve, you're gonna need to use that tool when you are carving, okay? So you have to think about that. You're gonna be using this curved part, or you're going to be using a ruler. Okay, so maybe something like that. Maybe I want this to go the opposite way. Okay, so you can see how that looks and how different that is. There's only one thing that I don't want you to do, and that would be this design. Can't just do an X and a plus, okay? There are a million things out there that are way better than that. This is so easy to do that it's just gonna be boring. Okay, you can come up with something way cooler than that. Okay, so once you have this done, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this one aside. Okay, here's one that I already did. I want you to go through and I want you to take a marker. I've got a set of markers up on my desk, and I want you to go through and use a marker and go over these. Okay, and the reason that I think this is important is so you can really see what the design is going to look like, because the design is not going to include the grid. The grid is being taken away. Okay, the grid is the guide to get the design there. Okay, so it's really hard for you to tell, like, what is this actually going to look like when I draw it. Okay, and I take that grid away. So, I mean, I think that one looks way cooler as I can, you know, change what that looks like. Same thing with this one. Oops. And we could get the bigger markers out if we wanted to, but I think they look way different once you can actually see just that design. I was interested to see what would this one end up looking like, because I just did lines that were connected that way. So I think that would be kind of cool. So the only rule on this is that whatever one you pick, every single box on your pot has to look like that. Okay? So you need to pick which one you think is the most exciting, okay, for you. Okay, now this piece of paper is the next step. And so I'm gonna pick, I think I wanna see what this one looks like. Okay, so I'm gonna draw this on every single one. I'm gonna draw this on 6 of them. Okay, so I've done that, and then I went to the second one. And then this one. So and you might need to draw this with a pencil first. It's possible if you have a marker that you'll mess up and then you can't really fix it, that might be something you want to do. Okay, so you can see that these are rough. I'm not using a ruler. Ooh, and I messed that one up. Look at that. I have more if you need them. I'm not using a ruler because I'm just trying to get a good idea of what this is going to look like. I don't want to like spend any more time than I really have to. Okay, so next step with this is I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Okay, so I've stolen one from that page because I have an accident on one of those. So I'm going to cut these out. Let me move this. So here's one. Okay. So this is going to allow you to move these around and rotate them and configure them to where you have a design that you like. Okay, so you've picked this, but now even by just putting this on differently or arranging them differently, you can come up with something different. And so it's kind of nice to see that. And it might even make you want to add something different to them. So if you look, like you can get something that looks like that. Okay, you can get something that looks like that. Okay, and then let's think about, is there, I mean, you could rotate, you could put them both down, right? And end up with something like that. Okay, and so it does change on what you do. Do you see how this works? Even how cool, look at that. Like how those make like a different shape. And then you reflect, right? So you end up with different things as you rearrange them, and it makes it more exciting. Okay, so you just really, I mean, you want to play with it and try and figure out like, okay, would I rather have all these like diamonds go down through the middle of it? Right? Would I rather like reverse that? And I would rather have, you have to think about it. You're still going to have this diamond, but it'll wrap around the outside of the pot, right? So it'll be like on that edge. Would you rather it be on the edge? Okay, there are so many cool things that you can do with designs like this by repeating them that it's absolutely endless. Okay, and we come up with, I'm always amazed every semester at some of the stuff that people make. Okay, so this is where we're going to head for right now. Eventually, they will get drawn onto these sheets on the back, okay, where you'll draw your complete design.